Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boxing fans around the world. A little bit of a late breaking news update. I was going to save this for the weekend, but as I thought about it, there's going to be some people out there that are very interested. And I talked about the fact that Sri Seket Sorongvizia and Carlos Cuadras are going to be headlining thanks to Jesse Vargas stepping out. We've got a little bit more news. There was supposed to be Chocolatito, Gonzalez, Roman Gonzalez facing Juan Francisco Estrada, and of course the four in the mix are Rungvisai, Cuadras, Estrada, and Gonzalez. Right? Apparently, Estrada got COVID. Seems like this is a pattern now, or according to Tim Bradley, a pattern now with COVID coming in the way and late replacements. We now have Julio Cesar Martinez. This is going to happen, of course, March 5th out in San Diego. And the reason I thought this was worth covering and why I think that this is a big deal, Chocolatito, he's Floyd once called him a pound for pound fighter. Floyd thinks very highly of him as a fighter. This is before he got absolutely blitzed by Srisaket Sorongvizia. But Chocolatito, he seems to have a harder time against fighters that come after him, fighters that are aggressive, fighters that are not afraid of him. It seems like he struggles with those fighters. He excels against fighters who fight against him tentative and they're not willing to go against him. Julio Cesar Martinez is going to bring the fight. He's a first front force fighter. He's not the kind who's going to fight on the back foot, I believe. I think he's going to feel like he has something to prove, that he wants to step up and make a name for himself against somebody that's highly regarded in boxing. And I expect that Martinez is going to come and bring it, and it's going to be an even more exciting fight than the rubber match with Estrada. And of course, this is happening on the zone. If Martinez pulls it out, to me, at that point, Chocolatito is going to need to seriously consider retiring, because it will have been his third loss in a very short span of time. And although he's been able to return and kind of work towards rebuilding, the beating he took from Srisaket the very first time, he took a beating, he got dropped, he was getting roughed up, and of course people like NSB didn't give him the rating that he deserved because it was somewhat dirty with headbutts, and that was not intentional headbutts. That's what happens when you have a southpaw and orthodox. But he got dropped. The bottom line is he got dropped. It was a close fight. When you get dropped in a close fight, to me, you can't win that. That's my opinion on it, and I stick to that opinion. Then you get the situation with Estrada, and Srisaket has to fight Estrada, and he wins that one fight against Estrada. When Srisaket does the rematch against Chocolatito, of course, we saw what happened. Chocolatito didn't win a round, ends up on his back like Amir Khan. And so I think this takes a lot out of you. And I don't know where he's at psychologically, because he hasn't fought anybody at the top level in a while, Chocolatito. So Martinez, I have a feeling he's going to come and bring it. And I think we may very well see another upset here with him making a name for himself. And then, of course, he inserts himself in the mix. But, we don't want to see anything happen with Estrada. We suspect he'll be okay, but he's out as of now. And, of course, on March 5th in San Diego, you're going to have Julio Cesar Martinez getting a chance to make a name for himself and get to the top. Now, some people think that Martinez leaves himself open for punches. I don't think that matters as much because, again, Chocolatito seems to struggle when it's an aggressive fighter who comes after him. And something tells me that that's going to play a factor. I could get it wrong, but I do think that this is going to be a very interesting fight to watch. If you don't like the smaller guys, I think this is another fight just like with Rungvisai and Cuadras that should show you that the small guys are what the spirit of boxing is all about. So I would say, in my opinion, definitely dial in, take a look at that one, because I think it's worth your time to see that fight for sure. And then on a flip note, smaller note, Amir Khan versus Kell Brook. Of course, that's going to happen out in Manchester at the AO Arena. That's going to happen on February 19th. So we got just a few weeks away from this grudge match that's been outstanding for like 10 years. Outstanding meaning pending with no resolution. We're finally going to have the fight. Apparently, it's going to be exclusively on ESPN Plus. Now, the downside of ESPN Plus is Sean Porter and Terrence Crawford was also, I believe, exclusive on ESPN Plus, and it didn't draw worth nothing. And so that means that it tells me that what they did is they chose this platform because of they were afraid of not being able to make enough money to pay both guys. And of course, it's happening in Manchester, so you're going to have some fan turnout because these guys do have a background. But I do think personally that too much time has just passed, and a lot of fans kind of moved on. It's left a bad taste in people's mouths. Of course, being on ESPN Plus, you do have the opportunity to get in at a small price point. but I don't think it's a good idea to me to have done this platform. I would have personally put this on pay per view and just said screw it. And I know that's controversial because there's some people like NSB don't like pay per view, but the truth is, pay per view is a common outlet. It's TV, it's cable. Most everybody has cable of some form, whether they pay for it or not. It's a different question. But the point is, it's easier for people to just dial up a pay per view. Don't have to worry about internet. You don't have to worry about streaming. Don't have to worry about lagging. Don't have to worry about mobile. And for a fight like this, to me, it's kind of weird that you would put something that's considered a big fight on something like ESPN Plus. Regardless, that's what it is. So that one's going to happen here soon. So that's the 2 points I got. The big news, of course, is Julio Cesar Martinez has a chance to make history against Chocolatito Gonzalez March 5th. And then, of course, ESPN Plus for Khan versus Brook.